Hello and welcome to 2025. I really hope you all had a good Christmas and a really better Happy New Year. For my first video of this year, I'd like to do a bit of a diorama based on one of my favourite war films, the Battle of Britain. So what I'm going to do, over Christmas I rescued this piece of board from a shop refit. It's huge, so I'm going to trim it to shape. Besides, it's got a bit of water damage in the corner, so I won't be able to use that. But I think cut it in half, and that'll be a nice base for switches and wiring and whatnot. Let's move that down there. Oh, crikey. So, with that, I'm going to use several models that I bought with Christmas money and vouchers and whatnot. So the first one of these is a Dornier Do17. And then I'm going to do Bristol Blenheim. I think that'll probably be on the ground, it won't be flying. I've then got a Bolton Pole Defiant. I really like this model. I've built one of these before and it was superb. I think it was a dogfight duo. I'll have to have a look. Next, of course, is a reliable Hog Hurricane. ME109E, of course. And last but not least, the Spitfire. So yes, I'm going to have some fun doing this, and I hope you enjoy the videos too. So yeah, please stay tuned. We'll do the Do17 first. So, as I always say, let's crack on. First thing I noticed as soon as I took the kit out of the bag was, there's 4 crew. That's amazing, and got their arms as well, ready to be put onto guns or control surfaces or whatever. Spot on Airfix, loving it. As with most model builds, the cockpit pilot section seems to be first. So I've laid out the bits in order, got instructions hanging up, so I'm going to work my way through them. Whilst the cockpit parts are drying, they were fiddly, but yeah, they're in together, marvellous. I'll do the next section, a bit of the old Revel glue, a bit on there and a bit on there. Drop this rather nicely detailed part onto there. That is a lovely piece of kit, that. It's really, really nice. I might have to use a hair. Oh, take the cap off, might work better. I have to use a little hair clip on that bit, I think. Get that bit to sit. Just to hold it in place. And I'll do that with that piece as well. Next bit to fix is this bit here. There's 2 seats to attach to it, so I figured I'd do that after I've done this, and probably likely do that off camera. Oh crikey, that's way too much glue. Never mind. Oh, let's get that in there like that. Seat him down. Very nice. I must admit, Airfix have really done themselves proud with this one. Now using one of my starter pot 53s, I'm going to paint these magazines, hopefully just the magazines. Right, to pick out the electrical panels, I thought I'd use a bit of bronze 54 just to pick them out a little bit. What I'm going to try and do is dry brush them. But whilst the aircraft interior is drying, I'm going to start painting the crew. So I always from advice from one of my subscribers, thank you Ian, always start with the skin now. This is my own blend of red and white and a bit of white, just to get a bit of a skin tone. It's nothing supplied, it's all Humbrol colours, there's nothing special about it. I just tried to match it as close as I possibly could to my own skin, and I think I failed, but it'll do. It's good enough for me. Going to apply a little tiny bit of weathering to these inside panels. I'm going to try a little bit of white. This is my weathering brush. It was a flat brush. I cut the bristles out and yeah, splayed it a little bit. Just the tiniest amount of weathering. Just dab it on, and I'm going to blow it off. Stop laughing in the cheek seats. That's what I said. I'm going to do a blow off. Got the pilot figure in after much fettling, fiddling and filing to make him fit. Quite happy with that. After severe fettling and removal of an arm, I've got the guys in there, but it's been a bit of a struggle, I must admit. But they're in, and onwards and upwards. Whilst the internal bits of the fuselage are drying, I've got to figure out how I'm going to have the plane above the diorama flying. So it'll be on the board like that, fuselage, dropping bombs onto whichever airfield I will represent. So I've got to get this rod, you can see that not on the camera, it's a very stiff rod that I can pass wires through into this wing like that without it noticing too much. Nothing like setting yourself a bit of a mission, is there? So I think by catching myself a neat hole in there, reducing the thickness of this pipe or tube enough, I can then stick that to the top section of the wing and put the bottom wing on top of it, pass the wires through it and push power to the two motors to spin the props. That's my plan. Yes, so I'm going to use that straight edge there as my first mark, and then with my tube I think I'm going to go to about there and just mark it as carefully as I can there. Pencil, find my rule wherever that went. So much stuff. Aren't I lucky? There's a rule, that'll do nicely. So with a rule, mark that a bit heavier, like that. I think that's very much, that's deep enough. So I'm going to cut that out, and then I'm going to shave this tube down just enough so I can get some wires through it. Yes, this should be fun. So first thing to do is to take the tape off I was using to hold the wing halves together. I'll use that again in a minute. Put that to one side because I don't want to damage that. And get my little saw here, which is just a normal craft saw, and then very slowly cut that as best I can. I would normally use a scalpel, but I think I want this cut to be as straight and clean as possible, so I'm going to use this saw this time. That's the two cuts done. Now I am going to have to use a scalpel and just very gently score that end bit there. I'm going to slit and mark the plastic more than I'll have to. And I'm hoping that gentle score should be able to just bend that and it comes away neatly. Oh, crikey. With the tube it fits perfectly. So with a mild bit of filler, once that's cut to size, that may just disappear. My piece of freshly cut rod. Oh. And then just see that fits perfectly with those lines. What I've got to do now is glue that into place, and I've got a conduit for wires to go down to the motors, which is brilliant. So I'm going to get on with gluing that, and then yeah, it should be reasonably good. Oh. Get my clamps and clamp it into position, and that is a nice route for a piece of cable to travel from the board that we support the whole thing into the aircraft. And as you can see, even the weight of the clips on there, that's quite strong. So yeah, all is good. Joining the two fuselage halves together, what I've noticed is the crew compartment isn't that big, so I'm having to, there's a little tiny divot and hole thing, line them up and then put that guy's foot in that frame and then join up the fuselage halves that way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tape the rear so that's in place and done. I haven't got to fight that while I'm trying to do the front then, like that. Do that section as well. That's all together. I haven't got to worry about it. All I've got to do is run some Tamurex to thin down the seam. That's that done. Now this front looks as though it's going to give me some grief. Doesn't really want to go together, so I think this is going to be a little tiny section at a time because of the way the crew are fitting in. I'm not sure if it's the mould or if it's me, I've made a mistake, I don't know. But anyway, that top section first, because that is the front of the aircraft. I'll give that a bit of Tamio extra thin. So a bit is almost a gallon that brush then. Give that a little bit of a glue. And let that go off. Right, fuselage halves are together. Not too bad a fit actually. I've got the top bit held together with one of my wondrous hair clips and a bit of tape on the bottom to secure that. It might need a bit of filing and fettling and whatnot. Next is this rather nice little chair. I quite like it. I need to touch up the paint, but that's oh crikey, I squeeze it too hard. So I've somehow got to get it in there. This is going to be a bit of a fettle, but we'll get it there. There we go. If we just, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and lower it in place into its set little cutouts. Oh crikey, he says. Oh dear. Let's just make sure those legs are squeezed out. Oh, cold. Gordon Bennett. Right, let's get those in there like that. And then I'm going to use a tiny little, oh dearie me, tiny little bit of Tamiya on the front two legs to see if it'll hold it in place. Now if I just tip that forward, come on. Oh, I think what I might do is see if I can get one leg to stick and then put the other one in. Yeah, that's if at first you don't succeed, try again, but try it a different way. Right, so let's get that in there. Oh my giddy aunt, get in now. It's not having it, it don't want to go. Come on. In you go. Now stay. Oh, it's gone through the back of the. Oh! Well, this is a fettle with a capital F. Get in there. Right, that's in. I'm going to let that go off and then I'm going to fiddle with those two bits. Let's see if I can get that to cure first. That's it. It's as best as I'm going to get that. So off camera I've had a bit of a fettling session. I've got the rear gunner in. I've got his work area. I don't know what you call it. His gunny position in. I've had to slice a little bit off to get it in there. For some reason it wouldn't fit. I don't know if it's me or if it's the moulding. Again, his head was hitting this bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to file that down a little bit once the glue's dried and everything's settled, and then get it in retrospectively after making it a bit smaller, and then carry on from there. Setting the motor into the engines. How did I do that, you ask? Well, take the cover off and then pull the cylinders out. There's the engine cover. What I did is I drilled a hole into the cylinders very slowly, which I will then super glue and filler just to make sure it stays. Drilled a hole into the rear assembly there to pull the wires through, and luckily enough Airfix seem to do this all the time. They want us to fit motors in their models. That then fits in there perfectly at the perfect length to sit flush with the top of that. So yes, brilliant. I shall assemble it properly and then fit it to the plane. Happy days. Off camera I've built the tailplane, as you can see there. I put the rudders on and the control surfaces, they're all on. I've also put the rear of the engines on and the flaps and whatnot. So now I'm going to put the engines themselves into the plane. So what I'm going to do, I've got my copper wires going through, I've scraped off the varnish and I'm going to tin those to give me a good connection for the motor wires. So using a hot iron that's been cleaned, damp sponge is always the best way for that, with plenty of solder, and then just very carefully try not to melt any plastic parts, tin that wire. You don't need to tin a lot, just enough give it that shiny look. There we go. Remove the excess solder. Do that again. Now we've got our motor. Bearing in mind I won't need these leads, they're going to be sitting on the model like that. I don't need that amount of wire, so what I'm going to do is get my wire cutters. These wire cutters I've had for 36 years now. So yeah, they're good. So I'm going to leave a little bit of slack because I want to pull that back for the aircraft, and so I'm going to cut them to length like that. Strip the end, which is just a matter of being tough enough but not too tough. There we go, that wire's stripped. Twist the cores. I'll do the other one. Just ever so gently scrape it and you'll take the insulation off. You don't need to go full metal jacket on it. Just twist the cores together, and then with the iron I'm trying to get the wires to lay reasonably flat. Just move the camera, so I'm going to move it closer to the camera. There we go. A little bit of solder and just tin these as well. When I worked in the aviation industry, it's always best to tin both wires because you get a much better connection. It doesn't have to tin it all the way, just enough. There we go, that's tinned. Now we get another pair of tweezers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap that around there a couple of times to make sure I've got a nice mechanically strong joint as well as a soldered joint. Because the last, oh crikey, can't get hold of it. That's it. The last thing I want it to do is to fall off inside the model once it's built and I can't get in there to repair it. So yeah, just take it round a couple of times to give me a good strong joint. Oh, there we go. It is a bit of a faff, but it's worth it. There we go. I can tidy that up by snipping that end off. Get my cutters in there. Bit of solder, bit of wire. Just position it onto the tin bit and then just solder it together. Make that joint. That is awful, I must confess. Just solder that together. There we go. That should be a decent joint. And we'll do the other one. Again, wrap it round for mechanical strength. I'll trim the end like that. Oh my goodness. You wouldn't think I've done this a few times, would you? Oh, come on. Round you go. That's it. Grab that, pull it round. And then make that off again. and go around again, just to make sure I've got the best joint I can possibly have. And just squeeze them up tight a little bit. There we go, I'll tidy that end up. And then I'll tack that on. I want to hit that one again. That's it. Bit too much solder on that one, so I'll try and take some off. That'll do. That's fine. Now what I'm going to do is very carefully pull these wires back through, so I can identify which is black and which is red. So I'm grabbing hold of that and just pulling that one. I think that one goes to the black. Yes, that's my negative. So we'll see if we can't pull that through. Oh crikey. There we go. That goes through there. Right. That's the negative, more than enough wire now. This is the positive. Then, so what I'll do is I'm going to pull that through. Okay, with my pliers, a bit more grip with pliers. Pull that through. There we go. I'm not going to insulate them because they'll be far enough apart not to warrant it. Like that. Oh, cripes. There we go. Now that should be the positive. So what I'm going to do to identify that is, yes, that's that one. Just give that a little hook. So I know that's a positive now. The next step is to stick the engine on, because that one is now done. So with a little bit of Tamiya, I will secure that into place. Notice I'm not bothered with the rear engine piece there, because I'm not having a landing gear down. I see no point in fitting it. So yeah, I shall secure that, then I'll do the same with the other end. Make sure that the polarity's right, and then we can test the engines just to make sure they're fine before I put the undercarriage covers on. Cool. So all the soldering's done, put away tidy, so let's just do a test of concept. There we go, both spinning and both going the same way. Off camera, I've fitted the main canopy and all the associated machine guns. That was an epic job for such a small part of the model. Yeah, that probably took the longest to do, but it's on and I'm happy with it, so carry on as we are. Off camera, I've finished all the clear parts, all the masking. Honestly, if you want to practice your masking, get one of these. So I'm all ready to paint basically. So yeah, I should get on with doing the first layer of primer, then check for any bits that might need filling or sanding or whatnot. I found some here, just need touching up, and then we'll do the main colour scheme. I've seen a video on YouTube and I can't remember where it was now, otherwise I'll put a link in the description. It's not using Tamiya tape, which is what I've used for the bottom of this aircraft. It's using Rizzlers of all things. it's yeah, I want to try it, see if it works or not. So what the guy did is he pulled a Rizzler out of the packet like you would do anyway, I suppose, and then he lays it on the aircraft like that, or the model I should call it. It's cotton bud, normal cotton bud, and just lays it down and then just moistens the back of it so it sticks, and it's supposed to give you a very nice straight edge, and it forms to all the lines and stuff, and I want to see if this works. I don't know if it's going to take the paint off, that's the only thing. I have varnished it, let it dry, and that will stay there apparently. Yeah, I'm not 100% convinced, but I'm going to try it, and if it goes wrong I can always repaint it. It's it'll be disappointing, but it's something that I can hopefully repaint. Just to make sure, I'm going to take that off now. No, it's fine by the looks of it. It's a bit of water staining, but I don't think it's... No, it's fine. Okay, yeah, it looks alright. So I thought, there's a hair on there now. Bloody cat. That's it, let's put that back on there then. Yeah, I just thought if this is a cheaper solution using Tamiya masking tape and it gives me the same sort of finish, then why not? So yeah, stick that into place and let it dry. I'm going to have to try it because it looked ingenious. So I don't know, I hope this video won't get taken down because I'm doing this. But yeah, I thought why not? So I'm going to put the next one in place like that. Dampen it again. And then moisten it. And then see if that works. I will try and find a video and post it in this one. I've got to remember where I saw it now, but it looked very, very effective. So yeah, I'll carry on masking this using a Rizzlers, and then paint it and see what it does. Now, because German camouflage is so straight lined on these bombers, let's give this a go. Now, what I have noticed before when using Tamiya tape, you get a very small ridge on the different paint layers, and I'm hoping this may stop that ridge effect. So only way to find out is to give it a go, I suppose. I'm using my detail brush because I don't want to blow the bejesus of the cigarette papers off the model. I'm just lowering the pressure down. That's it. Now we're going to do just this area, that and that. Let it all dry, take the cigarette papers off, and then I'm going to do another lot just using Tamiya masking tape, and we'll see what the difference is like. Bit of an expensive experiment, but got to give it a go. So, as they say, here goes nothing. Oh my goodness. Straight lines, no paint runs, no overspray. Yeah, I'm hooked on that method now for doing German camouflage. Superb. So yeah, I should do the rest of the aircraft now. And yeah, I'm really impressed with that. I can't get those straight edges, and there's no, you won't be able to see it on the camera, I'm sure, but there's no ridge where the Tamiya tape would be normally. There's nothing. There's no ridge. It's perfectly flat. I'm hooked. I am definitely hooked on that method. Brilliant. Right, tape's off, masking's off, whatever you want to call it. Is the jury in or not? Well, I think it is. For small sections like this, I use the Tamiya tape, and there is a very, it's not noticeable to the point where it's going to ruin the model, but there is a small ridge line. Where I use cigarette papers, there's nothing. There's no paint bleed, there's nothing. There's a little bit of tarnishing on the underpaint from the glue, but to be honest with you, I think the varnish will get rid of that. So all in all, I think the cigarette paper method is possibly a way forward. Time will tell. I've taken some advice from one of my favourite YouTubers. I've mentioned him many times, Steam Geezer. Got myself a wax burner to doing decals because it is chilly in the shed. Where I've so eloquently put "come out of the closet," the ambient temperature here is quite cold, so I'm going to let them warm through with the water. And while that's doing that, looking at the plan, this has got to go in line with that on there, so I'll put some decal fix on there and on that one, which is there. Make sure I've got a cotton bud ready to go. I've already varnished the paint, so that should be reasonably secure and safe. Water's tepid, it's nice. I'll just wait until I see a corner start to peel, and then I'll apply the decals. Done some decals, little detail ones as well, which I don't usually do. Yeah, the wax burner is a definite advantage for putting decals on. It's a matter of seconds before they release, which is brilliant. I used to wait for best part 5 minutes before I could release it from the paper, and often I'd tear them. But with the wax warmer, cracking, absolutely cracking. So cheers Steam Geezer for the idea, absolutely brilliant. I shall continue using it. Done some work off camera. I fixed the bombs and bomb bay doors on, finished all the decals that I'm comfortable doing with my eyesight and my fat fingers. Just getting the propellers ready to put them onto the motors, and then I reckon it's the big reveal. Well, there we go, my version of a Dornier Do17. I actually really enjoyed this build. I mean, the masking was a challenge, and getting the props on reasonably square and spinning was also another challenge, but on the whole, well done Airfix, and I think well done me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, because I really enjoyed this model, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you on the next episode. Cheers.